Hey there, long-time Republican Party. If you see something like that and that behind me there, it's a stove and a range. Today I'm gonna be talking about a few things here. After the intro, um, it's about Turning Point USA. That's chapter one. Chapter two. Chapter one is about Charlie Cook and what he has done. Chapter 3 would be the Ukraine-Russian war. And Chapter 5 would be the American people's reaction. Let's go to Chapter 1 here. Alright. September, let me bring it up here on my phone cooler so I can easily speak this to you guys. Charlie Cook was born on October 14th, 1993. On September 10th, 2025, he was an American right-wing political activist, empowering media personality. He co-founded the conservative student organization of Turning Point USA. So what that's meaning is basically he's saying, he's trying to get people to come together, unite, and talk together. Democrats and Republicans. Come unite and talk. He served as its executive director until his assassination. Basically, someone put one right there. He started publishing books, hosting podcasts, and he started a show called the Charlie Cook Show. He was a key ally of President Donald Trump. Let's go to this Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA, or TPUSA, is an American non-profit organization for conservative politicians on high school, college, and university campuses. It was founded in 2012 by Charlie Cook and Bill Montgomery. The affiliate group include Turning Point Indictment to Turning Point Action So, as I was saying, there's a powerful youth group in the nation. The CEO is Erica Cook. It's a professional watch list website and lists academic staffs according to the TPUSA. And it goes on. It attempted to influence student government, elections, and to infect combat modern liberalism on college and universities. It goes on. It was named school board members, mask modern or anti-radical circular or to an allegiance with the Christian rights, and I copy this if one of my mods could copy it and paste it into the chat. Let me just make sure the link is in the chat quickly. Yep. There is the link to Turning Point USA that I was just talking about. Alright. Charlie, I didn't get to know him very well, but of what I've known, Erica was his wife. She was married to him from 2021 to 2025.
Nicholas, look, I love you, Howard, but you gotta be on. I'm kidding. I can kid Howard because we've been friends a long time. But in all seriousness, this case matters, I believe, for more than any other reason, not only economically, national security. How do you think it went today? Oh, anytime, anywhere.
And you're breaking news, everybody.
America is listening. A major case at the U.S. Supreme Court with major implications for President Trump and his use of tariffs. Here with more, our Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. So, I love you, Howard, but you got to be on. I'm kidding.
And there were fireworks. This was his cross-examination of their lawyer, and he says, "You said he could embargo, he could cut off trade with any country." And their lawyer said, "I agree." He goes, "Imagine telling the president in the Oval Office, 'Sir, you can blow up trade with this country.'" And he goes, "That seems too much. Can I put a tariff on him and do a little less?" And they say, "No, sir, you can't." And Justice Kavanaugh says, "That seems like a very odd donut to me. I mean, how could you let that happen?" It just didn't make sense. The justices were on the president's side. You're here to hear from me. President Trump is going to win this case.
It has to, for national security implications and his constitutional role as commander-in-chief. I think it should be clear. The president, more than any previous president, has used that effectively for the cause of peace. And I know, Howard, because I know you, and you were involved in a lot of negotiations, and that was on the table as much as economic implications.
Basically, hang on, let me put this.
So one of the questions...
So basically what they just were talking about, I'm gonna off the topics that I was gonna talk about today. Yeah, the Supreme Court is hearing a case. Why is it doing that? I wanted to stream the order. There we go. If Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to listen to any of the podcasts that I have been making of this series, it will be in a podcast formation of the Ukraine war. Okay? The tales will be some are already affecting Russia. Alright? Some are affecting other countries. And basically, when he first asked the Supreme Court, they were on their side. But now they're saying, no, you can't put tariffs on it. You can put something else on it. It's kind of like telling China what they can or cannot do. It has so much national security implications that we, as Republicans, as we sit here tonight, we think Donald Trump will win this hearing. The other thing, getting to the Russian-Ukraine war. Since last time I have done a video or a live stream on this channel, Russia has invaded Ukraine. They have bombarded everything on them. They have basically wanted to take back Ukraine because they thought Ukraine was a Soviet Union member country. How many of you remember the Soviet Union era? How many of you remember that war when Ronald Reagan said to Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall? How many of you want to see Vladimir Putin say, okay, enough is enough? How many of you want to say, enough killing, enough bloodshed? What does it need to come down to? I don't have that answer. But what I do know is, Russia invaded a member of the NATO countries, NATO people. Well, how many of you have heard Article 5? If that ain't invoking Article 5 of the NATO Treaty, then I don't know what is. But they have invoked Article 4 of just talks. If you ask me, that's a bunch of BS. And then the other thing I want to tell you, I will be doing a part 2 series of this Russia-Ukraine war later this month. I'm going to set that up right now. And then the other thing that Zelensky did was he fired back at Vladimir Putin. And basically, he said to Vladimir Putin, well, here's a little taste of your own medicine. There we go. And then, I wanted to bring up something else. Where are we? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna share the screen. Oh, that's the phone lines. Okay. Alright. 11 years, 8 months, 1 week, and 4 days. It's been going on. This is, so far, that's what's going on. Um, how many of you remember the USSR? And, in the years after the USSR, several former Eastern Bloc countries joined NATO in response to regional security threats involving Russia, such as the 1993 Russian constitutional crisis, the war in Abkhazia, Putin, Western powers, and such the '04 Ukraine presidential election campaign. The opposition was Viktor Yanukovych was the opponent. Such Federal Council of Russia approved to use the armed forces in Ukraine and such in 2014. But yeah, I will talk more about that coming up here over 18. Oh, I changed turn. No. I'll um, talk about that more coming up later on. And I will set that one as included as this podcast. So stay tuned for that. I will also be talking more about Charlie Cook in that one, his wife. I will also be talking about government and if it's still shut down and the MAGA movements. If you're tuning into this on the replay, please give me a big thumbs up. Oh yeah, that reminds me. This channel, I just have everything politics. Oh,
Everyone in here can agree with is that things don't always happen on our time. They happen in God's time. And the incredible things that this president, our 45th and our 47th president of the United States, Donald Trump, has been able to do this term in office would not have been possible with 2 back-to-back consecutive terms. We needed the 4 years. He needed the 4 years. America needed the 4 years because we saw what you get with the other side, and America said, absolutely not, hell no, America first, bring Donald Trump back, and we got him back.
basically what he said, Donald Trump, if you remember on his campaign, basically a lot of stuff in his first term wasn't done. The border wasn't done, and he got that done this term so far. He's the first U.S. president to sign, I believe, 20 executive orders in one day. Let me say that again. He's one sitting U.S. president that has signed 20, 20 executive orders as president of the United States of America. And as a Republican Party, the people said, you seen what happens with the other side. They said, hell no. They said, we want Trump back in office. Get him back in office now. This shit with Joe Biden needs to end now. That's all I'm going to say right now, folks. I'll say more later. By the way, happy Veterans Day to all the veterans there out there. And I just want to say thank you for what you have done for this great nation. Besides, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. And see you guys in the next podcast series. Peace.